But I think it's good though, because I can still see it. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Okay, it's a little blurry. What is happening here? It just seemed like okay. It's starting to come back there. Okay, good evening, afternoon, not evening, afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Healthy Hair Chat. Do us a favor. It seems it's a little bit glitchy, but hopefully you guys can see us. Drop a 1 in the chat so that we know that you guys can hear us. Drop a 1. And we're gonna get started here shortly. So let us know if you can hear us. Let's see. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear us. I don't know because I'm going to go still. Check and see. So let us know. Okay, yes. Okay. So I know I checked it from my phone. So I know you guys can hear us. So again, welcome to the Healthy Hair Chat. If this is your first time joining us, we are the Healthy Hair Studio here in Richmond Hill, Georgia, and we decided that we wanted to come together just to provide some knowledge to you all about what it means to be healthy, just as a whole. Healthy hair, healthy lifestyle, healthy all the way around. And so really quickly, what we're going to do is we want to introduce ourselves to you guys, just in case this is your first time joining us, just so that you guys know who we are. So, Angel.
I am Angel Eskridge. I go by Angel. We're touched by Angel here at the Healthy Hair Studio. And my specialties are, it's kind of hard to pull out a specialty. Yeah. I like hair. I like skin. I do makeup. I end up doing braids. So I would say braids, weaves, press styles, natural hairstyles. Those are the things that I specialize in. And so I'm thankful for you guys for joining us today. And Takara.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kay Strands by Cara. I specialize in hair color and natural hair and extensions and wigs. Those are my specialties. And you can find me on Kay Strands by Cara at Gloss Genius.
Hey y'all, I'm Takara Nicole. I am a healthy hair specialist as well as a trichologist and holistic practitioner. And I do not specialize in everything. I typically just do healthy hair, primarily natural styles. I do some weaves still, but my primary focus is hair loss, treating hair loss, helping you restore your hair, as well as helping others find medical units for those that are going through different types of illnesses.
I am the one and only Miss Carolyn White. I am the owner of Ivory Rose Beauty here at the Healthy Hair Studio. I specialize in all things hair because I like it and I love it. Right. So I've done it all. But these days it seems like I'm more focusing on a lot of more colors, extensions, locks, things of that nature. But of course, it's always going to be all things hair for me.
Yes. All right, so you guys got a little piece of all of us, and as you guys journey with us, we're here once a month, 12 noon. You'll be able to learn a little bit more about who we are and what we do. But our main focus is making sure that whatever style that you do, whatever you decide to do, that your hair is healthy underneath. Okay, so we know y'all, it is Women History Month. Let's give it up for the women. Y'all know what would y'all be without us? We are amazing because listen at everything that we do. So it's Women's History Month, and so we wanted to kind of spotlight. We're coming out of also Black History Month as well, so we wanted to take this time to kind of spotlight a person that we feel like has kind of, what can I say, kind of got us all into, trailblazer, that kind of really set the tone, that kind of pushed us to where we are today. She was kind of like the example that whatever you set out to do in the beauty industry, it's possible. I think we've all had the story where we've encountered people that felt like what we're doing is not important or what we're doing is a hobby. But what we do, it is very much so a career. We are needed. And so this month we wanted to highlight none other than Madam C.J. Walker.
Hello.
And so, yes. And so we're going to give you guys just some knowledge about who she is. And I'm going to turn this over to Carolyn.
Oh my goodness, it's me. Okay. So I'm going to talk about Miss Madam C.J. Walker today. And I'm like So I'm gonna try and get through just some key facts about such a phenomenal woman. She was not just a woman entrepreneur; she was a black woman entrepreneur. She had a formula. It was the Walker system, and it's something kind of that what we follow today. Yeah. Because the system is scalp care, hair care, and sealing. That's what she did, and that's how she sold her business to the ones that were at least disenfranchised in that time and in that area because of certain things or lack thereof. Um, so that was her business. Madam C.J. Walker was born in 1867 and she passed in 1919. She was the first, as I said, a female millionaire.
Yes.
Yes.
Female millionaire. We're all aiming to be. Okay.
Wow. She had made her hair care line for black women born. Her born name was Sarah Breedlove, and she was inspired to create her products after an experience with hair loss, which led to the creation of the Walker system for hair care. And I know, Takara, you can relate to definitely to that. After had certain things happen, and it inspires you to create a product and move it into a whole business model. And that is the one thing that I love about cosmetology is that we are the creators. It started in the kitchen and now we're in here. And a lot of the things that we started with, it has now revolutionized into the newer products and nano formulated things that we're going to go into. But it definitely had its foundation here. She had a school. It was about empowerment, giving back, philanthropy. She gave to the Tuskegee Institute and donated large parts of her wealth to the NAACP and Black YMCA and other charities. She was one thing I did not know though is that she wasn't the inventor of the Marcel iron. I didn't find that out until actually I went to cosmetology school. It was actually a French gentleman in 1865, Harry Marcel. Yeah. So we've been using Marcel irons and these time and true and time honored and tested and true technologies and techniques for so long. I think that it was great to give back and just cast the light on someone who actually had the vision, wrote it down, made it plain, and executed that the best way that she could. Even though she passed from hypertension, and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Health because health is wealth. And I think that's one of the things that we all are in agreement in is that you have to take care of yourself from the inside out for anything to flourish.
That's good.
So, Madam C.J. Walker, she had a beauty school in 1908. In 1910, she moved to Minneapolis because of the larger market expanding. Yeah. Expanded because she knew that there was a railroad and she was going to be a lot more working people were at-home moms. The demographic was going to be prime for her. Yeah. Setting the stage, getting all of those things together to expand her business. So, spotlight on Madam C.J. Walker and all of the things here in business. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. So phenomenal. So, this really segues into what we're going to talk about today. Because I definitely can attest to when you're dealing with when you come in contact with a problem, and we can all share our experience. When you come in contact with a problem, we want to solve the problem, and so she came in contact with the problem of hair loss, and she says, I got to figure this out. And that was like me. I did not start out in hair loss. I started out as a regular cosmetologist until I started coming in contact with so many different issues that I did not understand. And it made me dive deeper. And so I went and took one class. And then from that class, I took another class. And from that class, I took another class. Because I was hungry for answers. And so even with Madam C.J. Walker, being able to create a product that was able to change the lives of not only herself, but so many different people. But today, this helps us understand our conversation a little bit more because I know one of the biggest challenges for you guys is when you walk in the store, you go to the hair care aisle, and you walk down the aisle, and you see so many different brands. And the question is, what brand is the right brand? What product is the right product? I have no idea what I should use on my hair. And so today we're going to give you guys just a little information, some insight on things to look for, things to know as you guys are navigating your journey. We all know that there are moments when you guys can't get to us. We know there are moments where it's like, hey, I have an emergency. You know, you might run out of something, and you need to know what is something that I can grab when I'm at the store, and just being able to have the proper knowledge that you need in order to understand products. So we're going to start this conversation. As always, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments so that we can answer them for you. But we're going to go ahead and get started on this conversation. So we're going to kick it off with Carolyn.
We are going to talk about product knowledge and ingredients. When you are at the beauty supply store, even though as
No, go ahead.
okay, even though sometimes as stylists we prefer for the even though sometimes as stylists we prefer for us to use what we recommend for you guys to use, and here's the reason why. It's really not a money grabbing as our it's because when things are made in smaller batches and more customized, you have the you can control what's in that product as far as parabens, the things that we don't want in there. Right. Parabens, long chain or alcohols, oils, and things of that nature, things that are not nano formulated and soluble. Absolutely. Or parabens, which is one of the major things, which is a preservative in the hair, which can is made for its shelf life. So when you mass producing a product, we want to make sure that we are making better choices when it comes down to what products that we want. The things that I tend to like, we have to learn the difference between what the hair wants. Being clean, it needs to be clean. A simple shampoo is fine. Humectants are something that's going to go on after you shampoo. Humectants are things that are made to draw the water in from the environment into your hair. They tend to be thinner. They are how the hydration hydration, foundation, and elasticity provide elasticity and bounce and fights against the elements. Things that are like that are glycerin, hyaluronic acids, proteins, and panthenol. So we want to make sure that we are giving once we are hydrating the hair with water, we're adding humectants. And there are some conditioners that are actually called humecto. And those products are typically very, very much lightweight and rinsable. Right?
So can you tell us what is the difference? What is the difference between a moisturizer and a protein? So if I'm looking at a product and they're like, oh, it has this is a moisturizing product, or I'm looking at a product and it says this is a protein, like what is the difference between?
Because and that's a great question. Moisturizers are made to seal in the hydration that you've already put into the hair or draw from outside in. Proteins are made to structurize it, to keep the hair structured. Drier hair tends to have more of a raised cuticle. So what that protein is going to do, if it's a wheat-based protein, what it's going to do is going to go in and fill that structure in, which helps retain the moisture. Or if there's even bigger gaps in the hair, you go in with a animal protein, which is something that's more stickier. You're going to feel that, right? And that's what's going to seal that hair shaft down in order to correct the problems, kind of like a cast. To help correct that structure, and to correct the structure of the hair. I am a product junkie, and so are my girls. We're like, I got this. You tried it. So your humectos and your things out of your humectants are always going to be something that's a little more lightweight. Your conditioners, anything that is a little more heavier, is going to have a little bit more oil in it. And we recommend that along with steam, and that's when you're going to open up the hair shaft and just kind of shuffle and glide those nano formulated ingredients into the hair, which is great. So it helps retain moisture that you already have. It is lightweight. It is most likely a film, like a thick, a creamy conditioner, and it has the most prominent ingredient is going to be your glycerin. And then we move down to your categories when we have your emollients and your occupants. Now, emollients is to help retain moisture that you already have, and it's a lightweight film. your sealings, which is our oil based thing. The oculatives are going to be your oil based butters, which lock and seal in the hair. And I want to stress, so importantly, that they are to be used on as needed basis. Certain people, the same thing that's going to work for Miss Angel or Miss Takara is not going to work for Miss Carolyn.
Texture based.
Yeah. It is texture based, and texture is the fiber. What is hair? Fiber that grows out organically from hair. It's an extremity that we just don't pay attention to enough, or we don't have the
education.
The education. I love that. We don't have the education to marry the type and texture to the product that we're using. So sometimes we will, if we're not understanding what the product is and what its function is, it's going to run us into other issues. If I'm if I'm non-porous, you don't have a lot of porosity, and then you're going in with all of these protein conditioners or protein oil-based protein oils. Yeah. You're gonna pop and you're gonna break, and then you're gonna be like, this broke off my hair. No, there's a couple of different factors.
Because you have your different oils. Right?
Yeah,
you have different oils. You have your conditioner oils, and then you have your sealant oils. So knowing the difference between what seals and what conditions, that helps a lot with the hair texture as well.
Right.
What we're making reference to in terms of when to use them and when not to use them according to, the hair texture. Sometimes you can get away with, especially in the 4s. If you get into 4Cs, 4A, 4B, a lot of times they need a little bit of a lightweight. They don't need a whole lot of castor oil, things of that nature, because the hair is already dry. And then if they already have a moisture balance issue, you definitely don't want to go in too much with, the raw coconut. It can be a little bit more drying to someone that has a 4C if they have a moisture balance issue, because a lot of times 4C hair is already dry in and out. Yeah. So you have to put that moisture inside of there. You can use something more lightweight, like maybe like an avocado oil or maybe like extra virgin oil to use to seal. But that also depends on if you're going to silk press or if it's going to be a natural style, because then those are two different avenues too. It all determines pretty much on the porosity of that hair of the person, and then you just choose which method is going to be the best method in terms of your oils to creams or your leave-in. So
that is what basically what is going to work better in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's why everything is such situational basis. And even when you are coming out of school, sometimes you don't even learn that out of school. It's really that's an on-the-job training type of situation, because it's like, okay, she's porous, but I don't know what to put, and this is what I got, and is it heavy enough, or is it going to seal enough? Is she going to go outside and blow up with her silk press?
Yes.
Those are the things that we spend our 1,000 hours to become, our product researchers on it. That's just basically what our jobs are. Yeah. We definitely try to have products in the salon because it's better. But when that doesn't happen, we do have a great product recommendation list. Right. When that doesn't happen. I hope that I said that correctly. Don't charge it to my head and not my heart.
Yes. Yeah. So that's just the beginning of, let's talk about products. Angel, can you help us understand porosity though? Because I think that is one we've been saying it a couple times, and
I think Carolyn or
either or
with the explanation, because I know it, but I don't know it enough to explain it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, so can you talk about it?
Yeah, porosity is pretty much where it determines pretty much the health of your hair. If you don't know the porosity of your hair, you really don't know what to use on your hair.
Right.
They have several porosity tests. For stylists, our porosity test is pretty much just shampooing you and see what that water does.
Right.
If that water beads up off that hair, automatically you have a porosity issue. It is most likely low porosity. It's not going to do well with products that sit on top of that hair. If the hair does wet easily and tends to hold down, or it takes you a long time to blow dry that hair, that can let you know that your hair Your hair can have high porosity, and there's also normal porosity. Your hair is just balanced all the way out. So those are some ways that we know as stylists how your porosity is at home. There's different things that people can do. I know everybody knows about the soap test, where you take the strand, you comb your hair, take it out, put it in the water, and if it sinks or if it floats, it lets you know, what type of porosity you have. So if it floats, you definitely know that it's low. If it sinks, it's high. If it kind of goes in the middle, you kind of know it's normal. So those are the things that you can determine the porosity of your hair. What was the other question?
For me, the number one visual representation that I can ever give about what porosity is a pine cone. When you see a pine cone and it's and when it gets wet outside, when it's extra dry, you see the pine cone will open up, and when it's really, really dry outside, it'll close back up. So that's what it looks like on the scales on the hair shaft. It's whether they're raised or whether they're tightly compacted. So when they're tightly compacted, you tend to have more of like a kind of like a harder shell to get into that cortex and the medulla. That's a good way to things of those natures. But when you wide open,
you got some problems.
I mean, because as fast as you get it is as fast as it goes
right back out.
And that's when we have to figure out. That's when we say, okay, I need to either use what I'm going to use as an occlusive, which is an oil or a butter, or an emollient, which is something that's a lot lighter, a lot more lightweight, and more filmy to help with what's already in there. And there's other humectants and moisturizers that we can do. Something that I use on my hair all the time is Jerry Curl juice. And let me tell you why. Because I am fine. I'm very fine, and I am high porosity. So with that, it helps kind of coax down my hair shaft just in a downward motion, and it coats it really nicely. It's for some people. I'm someone that I sweat in my head because of perimenopause and menopause. We will talk about that another time, girls, because it's so real out here. It's real out here. Real in this field. You like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's Women's History Month, so we can talk about it today. Now, this is not just for women, we do have a lot of different things, a lot of different changes that our bodies go through that affect what our hair looks like and how our hair shows up. So that's also one big thing to take into account. From the trichology standpoint, I'm always going to talk about, and we do too, just period. It's just like your diet, what you're eating, the changes in your body, all of that makes a difference. And so where, some products may have worked for you before, they may not work anymore because your body is changing, your body is going through so many different things. And so even when we're talking about porosity, high porosity, low porosity, all those kind of things, it's important to understand what to use and what not to use. And so, Angel, can we talk about, as it pertains to products like scalp and hair? Like, what is the difference? Because, there's some things that we can use on our scalp, some things we can use on our hair.
Right. So, obviously, our scalp is most like our dermis. You think of your scalp as your skin, and your hair is the fabric. So, just like for our body, for our skin, there's soaps and there's lotions that we use on our body and our skin that we're not going to use on our clothing. Our clothing is going to, need a different astringent and a different, cleaner or whatnot. And so, with our hair, as it pertains to our scalp, you're using your shampoos to extract and clean your scalp and hair. And your conditioner is more like your lotion for your hair and your scalp. And then after you've rinsed all your shampoo and your conditioner off, you're going to go to your scalp. And when you if you're assessing your scalp at home and you're noticing you've got a lot of flicks, you got a lot of dryness and whatnot, you're going to treat your scalp for the dryness, right? But you want to make sure that you're not treating your scalp for the dryness and it's getting all in your hair, because your hair may not need that. And one of the I guess metaphors I like to use is a plant. Okay. A lot of times we don't water our plant from the top or from the leaves. You know what I mean? We water the soil. That's good. So that the tree or the plant absorbs from the soil. Yeah. And if you think of your scalp as the soil, your make sure you're neutralizing, or not neutralizing, but
Nutrients.
giving the nutrients to
Nutrients.
your scalp.
Right. We
Make
understand what you're trying to say.
Make sure you're giving the nutrients to your scalp.
Yeah.
So that it can absorb through your hair. And once again, that's very custom. You know what I mean? That's very custom. Carolyn talked a lot about the hydration and nutrition, but things like natural oils, argan oils, coconut oils, jojoba oils are not for everybody. But those who need that moisture on their scalp, but don't want to get their hair all caked up, you want to lean more towards those natural oils. They're a lot more soluble, a lot more absorbent, and so they absorb into your scalp so that you don't deal with the dryness as much. But they don't get coated in the hair. Using them properly, because they still can't, it's an oil, so using too much.
And I just want to ask one question. Like, sometimes do you recommend that they do the oil treatment, like our clients do the oil treatments before a shampoo?
So that's definitely I love that method, because I feel that when, especially on a blowout, a silk press client, heat activated client, using the oils pre-shampoo, your hair gets to sit and soak what it needs, your scalp soaks what it needs, and then you're washing the excess off, so that the hair is still functionable with your blowout, with your silk press, and you're not oily. A lot of us don't like to be oily. We like our hair to be nice and movable and flowy, and have that what the girls do,
the bounce.
Yeah, the little bounce.
But you know what, Angel, and that's true, because as it pertains to anything that you're using, even on your skin, right? Because like you said, your dermis and your scalp is very, very similar. So anything that you're using, it should dissolve.
Yeah.
So it should not really be. It's mainly just to make sure there's no excess on your hair, because whatever type of oil treatments and things you're doing on your scalp, in order for it to actually do anything, it needs to be able to penetrate, which means it needs to be light enough to actually penetrate your scalp, to actually moisturize your scalp, in order for it to even do anything. So a lot of times you may even see some of these oils and you're like, oh, it's going to make my hair grow, whatever the case may be. I ain't calling out no names, but I'll say this. If you're picking something up and it's not dissolving into your skin within 3 to 5 seconds, it's not going to do what it says it's going to do.
Because it has all the
fillers.
fillers.
Right, exactly. It has all the fillers.
It has other
Absolutely.
fillers and preservatives in it,
and cheaper oils that they combine with it.
Yeah, and if it's too thick, it's not going to penetrate. So if the oil is telling you it's going to do this and it's going to help with this, but the oil is so thick, it's not actually going to be able to penetrate into the scalp to even reach what it needs to reach, the root and all the different things for it to be nutrients. Go ahead.
And what ends up happening is it sits on top of the hair.
Yeah.
Or it sits on top of the scalp and causes a worse off problem. You end up with buildup. You end up with maybe even an irritant. Your scalp might be irritated.
Yeah.
Some of the scalp friendly ingredients that I personally like to use if you're dealing with any kind of dandruff or dry scalp or anything like that: tea tree oils, peppermint oils, rosemary. They help soothe and also condition. But of course, not taking the tea tree and just putting it right on your scalp. You know what I mean? Using it in with a light argan or a coconut or
carrier oils.
A carrier oil to help soothe your scalp, and it reduces dandruff and promotes hair growth. We know that our hair, everything about us has a pH balance, and so we want to keep our hair pH balanced. We want to keep your scalp thriving. Our pH is a 4.5 to a 5.5, depending on how much water you're drinking and how you eat and things of that nature. So products with apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, amino acids, they help maintain that balance. And with that, once again, very custom. You'll be able to tell with your hair how it works best for you and whatnot. And as it pertains to let's see, me and Carolyn was, shuffling together. We was doing all that.
We shuffled together.
Parabens, they link to scalp irritation and hormone disruption.
Absolutely.
So, and fragrance too. That's a big key.
Yeah, that's on here too.
Right.
Fragrance is definitely. And I'm glad that you mentioned fragrance, because they irritate as well. They irritate the scalp and they cause sensitivity. And the other thing too is you know your body. So
Right.
everybody's a little bit different. I personally get tired of smelling like shea butter or, all the creams like that on my natural hair, you know what I mean? And so I like to smell a little flowery every now and then. And so it's finding the right products, finding the products that have more of a natural based scent or fragrance, and even the dyes as well. You see a pretty color, nice pretty pink or whatever. It's not necessarily something you want to put directly into your hair, unless they're coloring it with flowers or what I mean, things like that.
Yeah, can I say it goes back to knowing your body? She said you have to know your body, and that's the important part, because if you already know, like I'll say this for those of you that have allergies, asthma, eczema, you want to shoot for all natural products. Okay, there are some people that can use whatever and nothing really bother them, nothing really breaks them out, they're perfectly fine. But if you're already a person that deals with allergies, asthma, eczema, then you want to always shoot for the most natural of everything. Natural shampoos, pure shampoos, and I'll say from the trichology standpoint, because of the fact that some of those things do have irritants in them. So what happens is, what I'm seeing now is that people think they're dry, it's dry skin, but it's not dry skin. Your scalp is really irritated. It's really an allergic reaction, and allergic reactions show up differently. So sometimes you think because you didn't break out or you don't have hives or you don't have a rash that, oh, I'm fine. No, sometimes it will show up differently. And if you don't necessarily even have a microscope to be able to see, I've had people that come in and your scalp underneath is angry, red, irritated. Oh my God. But then sometimes when you come in here, we can see that your scalp is red and irritated. And so when you're looking, when you know that you have, knowing your body, if you know that you're even super hormonal, just try to stick to the most all natural, pure shampoos, hyperallergenic products. Try to stay away from fragrances and perfumes and all those kind of things, because they will cause your scalp to be irritated. And so, like I said, you'll think like, oh, this is dry scalp because it's flaky. And the reality is that's not what it is. I'm seeing a high, especially when we're talking about the parabens, which is the preservatives, right? The preservatives keep that product so that it can have a longevity of a long shelf life. All right. So if you think about something that has to be enough in that product so that they can mass produce it, number one, and then two, be able to put it on the shelf for it to last for a long amount of time, it's not the most natural. So we want to try to stick to, like Angela explained it, trying to stick to the most natural as possible. Now, if you're a person like, I really don't have these type of issues, cool, I still recommend it anyway. But for those of you that specifically know you struggle, I had a lady came here the other day and I was asking, I said, well, do you have eczema? Do you have allergies? Do you have asthma? Most of the time, all three of those go hand in hand. So if I'm dealing with somebody that has all three of those hand in hand, I'm always going to shoot for find you a pure shampoo. And I know you want it to smell good and all the things, but that's not what it's about right now. It's about having healthy hair.
And even being careful with that. You mentioned having asthma and allergies and things of that nature. A lot of the natural-based products are plant-based products. Yeah. So think about it. If you have seasonal allergies and you're using plant-based products, you might even want to even consider
not
be careful.
Line.
Not a botanical line. Because if you already have asthma, you already have seasonal allergies, and then you're putting that right into your system. You're putting it right into your pores. And so just, making sure and read in the back of your labels, boxes, with everything. Read in the back of your labels, checking about the sulfates, sulfates, parabens, mineral oils and petroleum. Those are things we want to avoid. Right. Drying alcohols, synthetic fragrances and dyes. Those are things we want to avoid. And sulfates specifically, and this was something that I didn't know for the longest time, that for curly and or color treated hair, since they tend to feel more dry, tend to have more texture, the sulfates weaken the structure. And that was something I didn't know for the longest time. I'm like, what is all this sulfate free? You know what I mean? And obviously, I knew that it was a bad thing, but I didn't exactly know why. And so knowing why, it weakens the hair structure. It can irritate the scalp. It cleanses, and they also add a lot of the lather. So you're thinking you're getting all of this good lather, but it's really adding buildup and and things to the hair.
Right, because I remember when I was younger, and this is really in relation to porosity, moisture, sealing, and things. I remember, picture it, the summer, what was it, 1992. Carolyn was 15 years old, going to that pool up on 112th Street. and all of go in there every day with my two little girlfriends and they little sister and my little sister, and we jumping in the pool every day.
Every day.
Every
Getting out,
day.
washing your hair with VO5.
Talk about it.
Baby.
What did you
See,
look
now
like by
the
the end of the
VO5
summer? My hair was not only, it was so fried,
Brittle.
dried, laid to the side. When I say brittle, and then you go home and put the gel on top of it.
Yeah, that's
And then you're not,
protein gel.
you protein gel and purple, black gel, lay it down. Right there. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing all of the things and you don't, because you don't know at that such a young age.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was a latchkey kid, so we been having all of these experiences and taking care of ourselves. And what's at the store? VO5. What do you see? VO5. I'm gonna do that for me. Right. But by the time
because we're looking at the bottle,
we're looking at the bottle.
Yeah.
We're looking at the marketing. We're looking at all of that, not knowing that thing had a pH of 11.11. So by the end of the summer, what did it look like? By the end of the summer, you're 2 shades lighter.
Y'all remember Herbal Essence?
She was gonna say Herbal Essence.
No, y'all remember
that
I want to look like a Christmas bottle in my hair.
Like, first of all, like VO5 Herbal Essences, and my aunt was like, if you don't go put that TCB in your hair, I'm like, TCB stink.
Right.
And the cholesterol.
We're not doing that.
Right, all of the, but that's when you go into, or even the cholesterol. That's all the wrong things, and right in its right category in the situation, but it's all the you're doing all the wrong things. Scarily, you was in the pool 5 days out the week.
Right. Yeah.
Then you shopping shampooing your hair with VO5, or like you said, herbal essences, and putting what was literally like baby lotion in your hair, not sealing it, not combing it down. This is why, back in the 90s, I definitely saw that transition from everybody doing what we knew how to do at home, and then we coming out, we looking crazy. So then you go into the braids, and then you go into these things, and then it turns into a cycle, and then leave it to your own understanding. What the word say? Don't do it. Right. You're not on your own understanding. Right. When you lean on your own understanding and things like that happen, you just have to be mindful that it can go really, really right or really, really wrong.
But this is why we're here, because you don't know what you don't know.
Straight to the salon.
Yeah.
What's the code word? Straight to the salon.
Straight to the salon.
To the salon.
But you don't know what you don't know. So that's why we're here, because when people come into our door, we're not just going to attack you. I know people, when people come in, they're just like, I'm so sorry. I don't know how many times I've heard people, they come in, they apologize like 10 million times.
I washed my hair before I got here.
Like, why would you do that? Like, you in the right place, at the right time, but
I got shampoo in a hose.
One girl, she was like so scared to take her bonnet off. I'm like, girl, this is what you came here for. But I do understand that sometimes they've had other experiences, right? Some stylists have not been as friendly or welcoming to the natural hair and helping people cultivate healthy hair environment. So this is why we're here, because we want to make sure that you feel comfortable coming in the door with whatever you look like. Know that you're not going to leave the same way you came, and that we're going to make sure we get you right. But don't be afraid to come and talk to us. And all of us have, if you're not in the area, all of us have our own packages and Zooms and ways that we can talk to you and help guide you, send you products, all that kind of stuff, so that if you're not in the area, you're still able to get the education that you need. So don't be afraid to reach out. If you're like, I'm struggling, don't be scared. So that's that part on being able to break down, understand products. Angela, did you have anything else that you need to cover?
No, I think I covered everything.
Okay. So the next part we want to look at, which is super important, y'all, is the importance of how do you layer products, and what does that look like? And so just having a deeper understanding of what that is. So, Karen, can you help us out?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think it starts with just understanding, like we said before, the porosity of your hair. Once you understand that porosity, then you can choose what you want to start with, which most people do a leave-in. We do some type of leave-in, some type of cream, or some type of oil. And then it also depends on if you're determining what type of hair you're going to do. So are you more of a straight natural, curly natural? Do you wear your hair more? Do you using more heat tools? Or are you just using the blow dryer often? All of those things matter when you're choosing if you're going to use your leave-ins, your different leave-ins, your creams or your oils. Sometimes it depends on texture. Well, most of the time it depends on your texture. If you want to use like a cream leave-in, or if you want to use more like a liquid leave-in. I typically service more of the four group girls. Okay. So for my girlies, I normally use some type of liquid leave-in, and that leave-in is normally lightweight. That way that is very moisturizing for them. And then I go and I follow up with some type of cream. Sometimes it depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm doing a natural style, I'll definitely do a leave-in with a cream. But if I'm not doing a natural style, I'll do a soft liquid leave-in, and then I'll follow that up with a light oil. And that oil can be anything like a little bit of coconut oil, not the necessarily raw coconut oil, but more of a little
fraction.
Yeah, it's kind of it's more diluted, I would say.
Okay.
Like a diluted coconut oil. I'll use sometimes my products consist of like avocado oil. Sometimes I have a little bit of almond oil in it. Sometimes it'll have like sunflower oil, small bits of it, or even the what is the other oil that I use? Grapeseed oil too. So those are kind of like the combination of products. I kind of look at that. I always look at products like when I buy something, I try to look at the first five. Like based on the first five, to me, it lets me know like what's in this product. So eventually, mostly I look for if it's water. It's even better if it's distilled water. Is the first ingredient, and then from there. If it's some type of shea moisture or something, shea butter or something, I'm looking for those key things. When I'm looking for glycerin for definitely if it's for 4C hair, because our hair just loves that. I love aloe. Aloe is very good. So I look for products that have those sort of things, and I just layer them based on a leave-in. Sometimes I don't always have to use a cream, but sometimes it depends on the hair texture. Yeah. So if I am doing a girl that's like a 3C or 3B, I may use a cream if I'm going to go in with a blowout or something. They may need a little bit of cream if they have a wave to their hair. And it kind of controls that hair a little bit more through my blow dry. It makes the brush a little bit more slicker. I can kind of blow dry faster. And so it really depends on, like I said, the texture of the hair and what I'm doing and the end result. So if I'm going for more airy hair, I want to use something that's a little bit more lightweight. That's not going to just weigh the hair down. But if I'm going for more of a style, a natural style, then I want to use more something that's a little bit more weighty, a little bit creamier. Not necessarily a butter, because you got to think about how butter works.
Right.
Well, butter, you put butter on, and normally when you think about butter, if you just rub butter in your hand, it tends to have almost like a film feel.
Yes.
So like a waxy feel. Yes. So if you put that on someone that has a moisture balance issue or a drying issue, you're gonna use that, and it'll just block out everything else. Mm-hmm. So it'll sit on that hair, so you're not able to get in the product that you need to get in there, or it can't even pull in you can't even pull in any moisture from the air. It's just blocking everything. Right. So I'm not a big butter person.
But it also depends on porosity too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, it depends on if the hair can take it. Like if the person has a really dry hair, you don't want to use the butters. Right. But if they can do it, if their hair is more normal, and they have a good porosity balance, like definitely you can use some butters, because I like butters too. And in that case, but a lot of times, I think our biggest issue here, and I'll address that too, in our area, our biggest issue here a lot of times with the girls I've experienced is there's a moisture balance issue. It's a big moisture balance. I agree. And they feel like, I hydrated, one time. Like, no, you have to hydrate consistently, because we're trying to heal that hair from the inside out. And so the hair is so dry from the inside. It's so dry on the outside. And then you're putting products on it, because I'm guilty too. Certain styles may cause you to use a product that has a little bit of mineral oil, has a little bit of petroleum, or has even alcohol, which I hate to use.
Right.
But
I love aerosol.
That's why you have to layer on your moisturizing products, so that when you do use a little bit of the alcohol, it kind of counteracts it some. But some of the styles that the clients are asking for, it really requires a different type of product to achieve, and that's a whole nother conversation with the client to stylist.
Yeah,
because y'all don't like to listen.
I think that they don't. Y'all don't.
But
the
I
other
just want the
thing
style, and so we have to come up with a goal. Go out and cut you off. But
No. I think, but another thing that's important to remember, like even when you are looking for a stylist, the type of stylist that you're looking for. Now that you can find a more organic stylist, and there can be a stylist that is not so organic, but is going to keep you healthy. But it's because we do have a plethora of clients. I have clients that are like I won't ever trim my hair, but I want you to condition it, and I'm like I am not the stylist for you.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I'm not either.
I'm not either. But I could call Angel and see if she's
I can't call nobody in here.
They'll tell you about plants.
You're absolutely right. But to bring it back, it's like you have to really, really be honest on what type of stylist are you looking for. Because there are some stylists that don't use heat at all.
Yes.
And there's a stylist like me. I'm like when it's appropriate because I like closed down ear shafts.
Right.
But that's Carolyn.
Yes.
That's what Carolyn likes. Right. And if that does not align with how someone is integrally living or what they want for their hair, because it's their body and their choice, and we just want it. The stars don't align on that, and that's okay too. Just figure out what type of stylist that you're looking for by doing the correct research and seeing what the products is in the back bar.
So this is why honesty is so important to us, guys. When I say consultations, but you guys have to be extremely honest with us about what you're doing. Because all that matters. And so sometimes, I've heard a person, they come in there like, I've never colored my hair. And I'm like, okay. But I can tell that you colored your hair. We already know. But I need you to be honest about the coloring of the hair and things that you're using and being honest about environments, right? Because all of those things matter. Something I'll say on the trichology end that is so important people don't think about is smoking.
Yeah.
Because smoking has a lot to do with inhaling, what you're taking in, your oxygen level, like all of those things matter, and sometimes you don't think that it matters. Exactly. Expect what you get. Smoking, there's a chemical, so sometimes people can have chemical reactions. Yeah. So it may not pull the color, it may not pull what you think it's going to pull. Like there are so many different things that come into play as it pertains to like choosing products and different things and that make a difference. So being honest with your stylist is so important so that we're able to, if it's going to be something that you're going to continue to do or that you want to do, at least let us educate you properly. I have clients that are they're going to relax their own hair. They're not going to come here. But at least let me know, and then at least let me educate you and kind of help you to navigate it so that we can better be on a better team. But
we're not honest about the regimen around that.
Yeah.
The regimen after that, if you're going to do things at home, like I have clients that are 100% natural, like Carolyn, I do not. I'm going to twist it and I may sit up underneath dry, but I'm not. And I'm going to use all these oils and butters. But next week I want to silk press. I have to manage that expectation.
Yes.
That let me tell you this. I might have to shampoo you about 10 to 12 times, honey, and it's going to be a heavy press because that has to be pulled out of the hair. Yes. At some points, it starts to go up underneath the scales of the hair, and it's so hard to get out because then when you put water on oil, what happens? It turns hard. It's solidified.
They're not going to mix.
So let's talk about in the appropriate situation.
Correct.
Sulfates are fine. Because if you're someone that uses a lot, that's where clarifiers come in.
Yes.
Because if you're someone that uses things like heavy oils, heavy butters on the hair, then when you come see me and you want to blowing in the wind silk press, I'll be like, girl, that's not gonna happen unless I use this.
Pass me my sulfate. Pass me my sulfate.
But sulfates are cleansers. So like there are but if you're not, but you have to be careful with cleansers because if you're cleansing and you don't replenish, that's where the damage comes into play where Angel was talking about.
I just thought about dial soap. Dial soap. Anybody know dial soap? The gold bar. Okay. But you got a kid who outside playing in the oil.
Baby.
I'm gonna need some dial.
You're gonna need some dial soap. That dial soap coming in. So if you think about that.
But you're also gonna follow up with something else after I So that's why it's
Bring back the
important to
alcohol.
understand and be honest, like even about your regimen, so that we can help you.
Yeah.
There are some of you that are like truckers. You work in environments. I'm going to suggest warehouses. I'm going to men that are working in warehouses, that are truckers. You guys need to be shampooing your hair every day, but with good products. So it's okay to use the sulfate, get the cleanser in there, get everything out, but then make sure you follow it. Men, that has been the biggest issue I've seen with you guys is that you're using a lot of drying products. You know, you're just using that 2-in-1. Okay, baby, we got to bring you out of that 2-in-1. All right.
It's okay to come to
It's
the
okay
salon.
to come to the
It's
salon.
all right.
It's all right. Come
It's all
on
right.
in. We want to
So
help
baby
you.
girl to pick it for you. It's all right. Come on
But
in.
yes, a lot of times you're
She don't
using that
know.
2-in-1, the shampoo and the, you know,
Right,
like first of all, let's just be honest. If something is going to cleanse you that
Right.
much, you have to make sure you're using something,
Moisturizing shampoo.
to moisturize and replenish. And so all of the different products. And this is where that fact and myth comes in, where you see people say, "Oh, sulfates damage your hair." No, sulfates don't damage your hair. It's
Anything done excessively is going to
absolutely
damage.
And how you follow up.
That's even with if your diet. Like people get confused, and I know this is off topic.
Nope,
but
go ahead.
This is relatable.
Yeah.
People will feel like, oh, I don't eat a lot of sugar, but if you eat a lot of fruit, that's sugar.
Right. Exactly.
So you're still the body doesn't know, oh, I ate an apple or I ate a candy bar.
Yep,
it's going to convert to sugar.
Yeah.
So it's all about anything that's done obsessively, even in your diet, you still can't eat just a whole bunch of fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
You still have to incorporate your vegetables, your carbs, and a little bit of your protein. So everything has to be done in moderation,
That's
so
And that's when it comes to balance. Sometimes when you go to the doctor, you just like, I don't know what's going on. That's what happens with your hormones. When things are out of whack, out of balance, you drier, you're looking a little crazier, you can't think straight, and your hair is directly affected from that imbalance. And everything in life is about balance, work-life balance, hair balance, trying to take care of the kids, all of those things. It's all about balance, but come see a professional so that we can put you on the right fact. And if it's a thing of when it comes down to price, and I'm sure that there is, if you have a conversation with your stylist, there is a budget that can be come up with, so that we can help you get on the regimen, or get on the foot that you need to get on without it being like they just want my money. That's not it. I'm trying to
because even just because a product is expensive doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Exactly.
And expensive doesn't mean better. I gotta say this. I might get in trouble. I might not, but it's okay. I'm always in trouble, and I'm used to it, and I'm all right with it. Just because a celebrity, pray for me, y'all. Just because a celebrity puts out a product doesn't mean that product is quality,
or they even use it.
Okay, I know we go to the store and people are coming in like, well, I mean, and I'm all for. I'm definitely. I'm a black owned. Madam C.J. Walker was black owned.
Yes.
They had we all have our own products, but just because it's a black owned product doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good product.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know we want to.
Doesn't mean that it's good for you.
And it doesn't mean that it's good for you. So I know we go in the store and we picked up all these different people because all these different celebrities, say they have products, and that's great and wonderful. But still do your research, still read, just make sure that it's going to work for you. Because every product that a celebrity puts out doesn't mean that it's a guarantee that product is going to be for you. All right. So I just had to throw that out there.
And
why wouldn't you want something personalized? I want something that's personalized specifically for me.
Right.
When it comes to my nutrition plan, when it comes down to when I'm seeing my doctor, when it comes to seeing Kira and getting my hair done, I want something that's going to be personalized to me. Like, girl, that's not what your hair needs. It needs this. But then, of course, we got the girls that always go, but I picked this up. What you think?
Right. Because y'all bring them tokies.
And speaking of which, pick that up. If y'all have a product that you're trying, or you're like, you know what, I bought this, it's not really working for me. What can I do different? Certain products, it may not necessarily be the product. It could be how you're using it, and what you're using it for, how you're using it. And so if y'all have some, drop them in the comments, and maybe we could talk about that.
Right. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. So I'm going to talk about just a couple, and we've kind of touched them a little bit, but I'm just going to talk about a couple like facts and myths a little bit. So we kind of touched on, we talked about just because it's a celebrity product, an expensive product, doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best product, right? Another one we kind of touched on too, sulfates, right? So there's different types of sulfates. Let's know that. And just because it's a sulfate product doesn't mean that it's a stripping product either. All right. Angel mentioned about the pH balance. That's extremely important to being able to understand what the pH is of a product. And why is that important? Is because the higher levels of pH, the more it makes your hair swell. Okay. And so if your hair is swelling, then we're back to our analogy. We're open. We wide open. We wide open, and we don't want to be wide open. All right. And so being able to understand that aspect of it. Let's see. You should only use products, I'll say this, in the same brand. So I'll say, especially what Angel just said, sometimes if you let us know what that product is, all products are not bad. And if you use one in one line, you may find the shampoos here, but maybe I like the conditioner in this one. So if you mix, it's not a bad thing, but just make sure that you're conscious of what you're mixing. Another big one we didn't really touch on too much was when it comes to even styling aids. Be very careful when you're mixing those. So when you're mixing cream-based products and gels, that's not gonna mesh. So sometimes you buy a product and you say, it didn't work, right? I brought this cream, I brought this gel, and it didn't work. Well, the reality is that sometimes, hey Tanja, sometimes what we're experiencing is nothing more than a chemical reaction. Another big one is edge control, right? So you put your edge control on, but your hair is oily. It's gonna turn white.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because of that chemical reaction. So you got, I brought 5 different edge controls and these edge controls don't work. No, it's not the fact that they don't work. It's like what is on your hair already. You need to wash your edges.
You need to wash your edges. When you wash your face, go to the edge.
Right. Wash it. And then go back and reapply.
And dry it. Dry your edges.
Dry your edges. And then go back in and apply.
How about let's not do the baby bangs? Can we talk about that?
They just want to do them.
No. Edges is edges. But if we're talking about the white edges,
you're not
if you bringing all of this down,
your edges are good. Yours are
no,
good.
I'm just saying first of all,
Right.
you get it on your oil,
Right.
on your skin.
That oil's on, and then you're trying to figure out why.
On. And if you would just leave them at the edge and not bring them all down to the face, that could be.
But if you are gonna do that, you're just gonna have to know that you're going to have to shampoo whatever's
your
out.
face.
I would recommend it. I would literally recommend, like, if you're going to leave that out, yes, you're gonna have to reset it down. So just don't keep putting gel and edge control and edge tamer on top of edge tamer on top of edge tamer. That's too much. Leave-in conditioners do not replace regular conditioner.
No.
Okay?
No.
They're formulated very, very differently. So you need to shampoo your hair and then you need to condition your hair. All right? Now, this is my recommendation. Everybody do things differently, but a lot of times I tell people the first 2 shampoos, depending on how oily your hair is, right? I say it's okay to use a warmer hair. You want to, the hot water is going to definitely get out whatever is in that hair. But by the time dissolve it. But by the time I get to that 3rd shampoo before I can condition, I'm going to ease up on the heat.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm going to rinse that 3rd shampoo out with water that is a little bit more cooler, not totally cold, but like on the warmer side. Why? Because hot water strips, cool water seals. So about that 3rd one, I'm going to try to, cleanse it down. And then by the time I'm getting to my conditioner, I am rinsing out the conditioner with a cooler. Why? Because I want to lock in that moisture that I just put inside. If I just rinse it out with hot water, I'm literally just going to rinse out what I kind of already put in there, right? So I want to lock in that moisture. That's just something that I do. I think we all kind of agree to that for the most part, but for the most part, it depends on the hair. It depends on what the person got going on, but I for the sake of, if you're going to do it at home, exactly. Yeah. And for the sake of doing it at home, I highly suggest that you just do it. Try to stick to that as much as possible, because a lot of times we don't know what to do. So that was just on that. Again, so leave-in conditioner does not replace regular conditioner.
That's a leave-in job too, to like wake that hair back up. So after you seal it down with the cool water, when you add that leave-in, it kind of pops the cuticle open a little bit so that you're able to put the rest of the stuff lightly. Yes. It's not going to open it wide open, but it's just going to allow us to get a little bit more moisture in there before we finish up that style or whatever you're doing.
You got any questions for me, baby? Well, tell me, quiz me on what's a myth and a fact.
I done went through them already.
I should have said you before, then I could have said it. That's gonna be next.
Okay, we'll say this. Okay, we'll do this. So we'll do this one, right? Products that are labeled as natural are always safe.
No way.
No, why?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't want to call no products out, but they do have a lot of. Some of them have a lot of alcohols.
Yes, they do.
Some of them do have a lot of parabens. Some of them do have a lot of drying agents.
And natural.
And they cause you to want, like, you feel like, oh, my hair is dry. I need to put more. I need to put more.
Yeah.
I need to put more. But that's
so
not
you mean
the
to
case.
tell me that the person they put natural on there and organic, and it's not always natural.
I mean, think about it.
Not
You
always
can
natural on
100% orange juice.
Natural and organic can also mean a higher pH depending on what they had to do.
Go, so you want to go dive deep
I
today.
like that.
You want to go deep today
because I have a client that she has natural products, and I understand because she has a lot of allergies, and it took her a long time to get to this point where she can find actual products that's going to work for her and her skin condition and how she wears her hair. So with saying all that, I was using the products for the first couple times. I noticed that they were like the shampoo. I can tell it was a high pH because the minute I pulled my hands out of it, my hands were very dry. But I had to understand why. And this is what we're talking about: site-specific, hair-specific things. Because what happens is that the regimen that was given to her was to strip everything that shampoo was given to her because everything was a occlusive. Was an oil, was a butter, was an emollient, because you stripped everything down so far, so deep. Like, I mean, I was down to the medulla.
All right, I got two more, and then if you guys got questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Thank y'all for joining us. We see you guys on the line. We see your comments. And so thank you so much. Miss Tracy said, great team right there. So thank you guys for y'all comments and tuning in and sharing this live, y'all, with y'all friends. So I got a question. Does your hair get used to a product and stop working?
It does. It can.
Y'all think so?
I think so.
I believe that.
Because it depends on what you got going on within you. You know.
Okay. So is it a product issue or is it a person issue?
It's a person issue. I think so.
Okay.
I mean, the product is stationary, typically, unless it's going past expiration or shelf life or something like that. But for the most part, the product is stationary, and we are changing.
You're constantly changing.
Yeah.
If you're taking medication, not taking medication,
wet hair, dry hair,
having some hormonal imbalances going on. Your stress level could have been cool and calm, and then you go through a divorce, and now you're crazy. So it's just,
let's talk about it. Or you're using the product improperly.
Yeah, that's true. Not reading directions.
You are not reading the directions. Where I've done it as a stylist behind the chair, and I'll be like, ooh. But it does happen, and I will say it depends on the person and the person that may be helping you out, whether they understand what they use and whether it's an emollient or occlusive or anything else. We have to be cognizant of what we're doing and how we're doing, and speak truth and integrity into what we're doing. Now, I can't say you need to do this, that, and the third, because medically I can't do that. That's beyond my scope of practice.
Right.
But I know that I can lead you in the right direction if I see certain things. I can lead you in the right direction with that. You know,
that just goes back to what you had on. Like, for instance, you said, is it a person thing or is it the product? And it's like if you have oils on versus the first time you used the product, your hair was freshly washed and it worked perfectly fine.
That's good.
And then the next time you tried to use the product, it was like 4 days in, and you had your natural oils coming out. You maybe put a little butter or something in it or whatever, and now you use the product again. I mean, that's a
and that's why you have to be careful with layering products. Just putting product on top of product and on top of product every single day. That's where that's where the
makeup, summer makeup.
Right, exactly. And what happens when you start kicking on makeup? Your body begins to react, and your hair is going to do the same thing. If you keep throwing product on top of product on top of product, like sooner or later your hair is going to be Feel me? It's gonna. You might get those little white little beads all over. And I can't stand those.
So
Get those little white little beads all over. So you just have to be very careful about how you are using products. Again, if you don't know, always contact a professional. This is what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we are here. We started this because we are in this place where we've been hearing so much about Black salons and what they meant to the community and all those kind of things, and what, back in the day and how they used to care for the hair and love the hair. And y'all got one right here. Now, we're not back in the day and we're not older, but we're definitely experienced, and we have research, and we take pride in our craft. Yeah. And so when you walk in these doors, it's not just about the style, but it's about the hair. We've all come to the consensus that we don't want wigs to have to be something that you have to do. Yeah. We want it to be an option. Too. We want it to be an option, but not something that you have to. And I'm, of course, in what I do, I see it every day. And it comes from the miseducation, not being educated, on what are the things that we should do. A lot of us grew up in the press and comb era, where we would do the grease it down, press it. People's like, well, it used to last back then. Yeah, because most of your hair was fried. You know what I'm saying? From the grease and the pressing comb, it was literally heating your hair up, and it was sealed with grease. So it's different. And so now when you come in here and you're thinking that your press is gonna last like it did when you was a little girl, we're not using all those oils and blue magic and all of that to press your hair out. To do it. We're literally taking, we're gonna, of course, now there's so many different things that we can use to kind of help.
Ooh, and to add to that needs to be a transfer of expectation, because you have to think about back when we used to get our hair pressed, that hair was stationary, it was controlled, it was not flowy.
Right. Touching it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Today, we do not want stationary hair. We want flowy, in the wind hair.
Right.
So that the expectation is different.
That's good. That's a good
so
point.
If you having different expectations, you cannot use the same
That's a really good
processes to get the end result that you want. You have to think about those curls were on base. Mm-hmm. They were tight. Yeah. Even if they did that's when the relaxer came in. But most of the time, that Marcel was used. It was on base. Those curls were tight. They were placed in, and it would last for a period of time.
How often would you get your hair done?
And you would go every other week. At least every 2 weeks.
How often did you get your hair done?
2 weeks.
I think that's the major difference here, too. When you were talking and you were like, the expectation. And I'm just like, when we think about it, my mama did my hair every week.
Yeah, like every week.
Nowadays, everybody like, I need something that's going to last in my baby's head for 4 to 6 weeks because I don't want to have to touch it. So as times is changing, more mothers are working. I get it. More fathers, the lifestyle of where we are, and this can be definitely a conversation for another day because I don't want us to journey off too far. But the lifestyles are so different now.
And our moms did our hair often.
But our moms were also home more. Too, now that our things have shifted and we're not home, mothers are not home as more. It's like I need to do whatever I can do for it to last for a long period of time. But it's like by us doing that, we also stand a chance of braids being in longer, breakage, hair not being properly moisturized, breakage, rubber bands being you break. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many different dynamics here. I think we talk about now, like what does healthy hair look like now? What does healthy hair regimens look like now? Because of the fact that so many things have shifted economically in the world. Yeah. So and we understand that. So we're just here to kind of help you guys we want to be able to bridge that gap and be able to give you a greater understanding, but also give you suggestions and things that can help as you journey through so that your child doesn't lose their hair. You want to start these habits at a young age so that they don't have to come see me in the clinic, because majority of the people that I see in the clinic are older people. Mm-hmm. And it came from them doing things at a younger age and not knowing that stuff kind of ripped them out. So now it's like they wore wigs for that time because they didn't know where to go. So it's like in the in-between time. So now they're here and they're like, I need help. And I'll be honest, a lot of times it's a struggle, because a lot of times when they do get to me, it's hard. So I'd rather you come now when you got the little patch, when you got the dryness, when, all those different things, so that I can help you so it doesn't get so far.
I was thinking about it. I thought back to when we were talking about Madam C.J. Walker and the initial problem that she had that came in my mind from what I've heard from just listening to the autobiography of her. Her initial issue was it was a hygiene issue, and it was a scalp condition.
Thank you.
That was due to lack of cleaning, lack of shampoo in the hair. And that is a crisis right now in our community. Nobody really wants to shampoo their hair properly or get their hair done on a consistent basis to where it can combat some of those dandruff issues, psoriasis issues, the issues of the scalp. And if we address those issues, then the hair growth will definitely come back, because we have growing hair, but we have to have a system in place. And the system in place that we're not setting, like there's no real accountability on each side. The stylists sometimes they don't want to learn, different methods to address, natural hair now. Because we do have a huge natural community, like probably 70% of the girls are natural,
especially
and then on top of that, then you have the client who their expectations of they're seeing all the different stuff on YouTube, and they have so many options, so they have to choose. Do I prefer for my hair to be natural, and I want to be on a system, and I want to be consistent? Or I just want to do, just whatever quick and fast and, whatever.
And and a lot of people opt for the latter, but I love the way that you, Kara, I love the way that you said that it was about a hygiene thing, because I had one of my clients came in and said, well, I don't have to wash my hair. Remember, my grandmother had hair down to her behind. They had hair all the way down here, and she only washed the hair. I said, well, what we have to remember is grandma didn't have access to water. Okay? And grandma didn't have access to the things.
And texture, and
texture.
Yeah.
We have to. I said we really have to. And like you said, in managing the expectations, you have to understand that it's hard things to say about some, because people will feel like you're attacking just them as a person, and not trying to insert better ways to do things, especially with the older demographic. So we have to have a certain amount of tact and a certain amount of understanding when we're talking to our people, and to help them realize these things. But it's prevalent.
And to piggyback on that too, this is something that people don't consider: low maintenance. Like grandma might have had low maintenance. She might have just kept her hair in a bun, or pull back, or in a ponytail. And we always noticed that, like from my experience just growing up, the girls that did less with their hair normally had longer hair. That's just has been one of those things. They didn't do all the different styles, everything that came out, and every trend.
Brushing your hair.
They normally had growing hair because it was low maintenance, So those are the things that people have to be real with, and they don't want to be real. A lot of times they don't want to be real.
But that's just a gentle reminder. A gentle reminder to keep your hands out your head, see your stylist.
To the salon.
All right, y'all. So listen, this has been an amazing conversation. We thank y'all for joining us today. We're here every single Monday. No,
First Monday.
not every single Monday. I lied. But every first Monday of the month at noon, we're here to educate you guys, just to come together. We just want to have some healthy hair chat, some healthy conversation. Allow you guys just to get the chance to kind of get to know us. Now starting this month, you guys are going to see a lot more different spontaneous lives. So we want you guys to join us, each of us individually. We have areas that we kind of operate in that have been just our thing. And so we're going to have some different segments for you guys. So look out for the flyers. Make sure y'all stay connected to us. We are going to be forever. Yeah, and send us y'all questions too, so we can see like what is the need, what do you want to know. But y'all, we are going to be proof that you can be Black stylists and work together, love on one another, and still be successful. I was just about to say that, and be successful at it. All right. Someone said growth in analytics market said, ladies, this is awesome. Telling all my girlfriends in the DFW area about your podcast. This is so refreshing and much needed. Yes. Tasia said, thank you, ladies, for taking the time to educate us. Tasia, thank you so much too. I'm gonna openly say it. Thank you for your referral. Listen, y'all, this is what it's about. Other stylists, that don't mind helping other stylists or referring people when they know that they need help.
Yes.
And she did refer somebody to me not too long ago. And I tell people all the time, I'm not in the business of taking people's clients. Yes, I'm a trichologist and I can give them a plan and send them right back to you because I can't take a lot more clients. So listen, I'm an advocate for if you are in need of a trichologist on your team, you need help, you got questions. I don't mind helping and sending them back to you for whatever they might need.
And I hope the girls ain't gonna beat me up for this, but I do have a shameless plug from Miss Tangy. She did not ask me to do this. She has a oil called Regency. When I tell you that this silkening hair serum
is good.
Everything, and I will be retailing it. So, but
Okay,
I use it
awesome.
on my locks and on my blow dries. When I tell you that it's
Okay,
lightweight,
Miss Tangy. Congratulations!
I love it.
We got another man, CJ Walker.
Wait, locks and blow dry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no.
That's
I
a
got a
range.
couple of them, and I'm
That's
gonna
a
be
range.
Yeah.
because I really do like it. It is so lightweight and it seals it just so nice. It's the right amount. You be like, ooh. It's the right amount. It's not too much. It's not under. It's not over. So shameless plug for you, Tangy.
It ain't shameless. We are all working together, so we appreciate it. Listen, whatever you can do to pump and push other people, that's what we're about because we all here, we believe what is for us is for us.
Yes.
And so what will be is what's going to be.
Yes,
and so even amongst ourselves, if you watched our first segment, you guys know we tell, hey, listen, I call Angel, listen, I need to put somebody in your chair. And Cara, can you handle this? Yep. Carolyn, can but this is what we want to make sure that we're creating this community. Even though you guys heard us say in the beginning, we are all our own individual businesses. We have our own, individual everything. We're still coming together. And so just because you're in the same field doesn't mean that we have to hate on one another and not love on one another. This is what the Healthy Hair Chat is all about, is loving on one another, being there for one another, and we're loving on y'all and being there for y'all. Yep. So again, y'all make sure y'all join us noon every first Monday and check out the flyers coming soon for all of our different segments that we're going to have coming out. It's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. You're going to get to meet all of us. You're going to get to meet every single one of us individually, in our own elements, in our own way, in our own specialties. And we have some amazing things coming up, even in the community, that we want you guys to be a part of. And so until we see you all again, anybody else have anything to say?
Nope.
No.
I love you. God bless. Good night.
We love y'all. And
That's
it.
That's all we got.
We love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Share this with y'all friends and tell them that we're here every first Monday. And don't forget our spontaneous live. So until we meet y'all again, bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.